You're listening to the Andy Snowden Stage and Screen Radio Show, broadcasting around the world and in Rosa Medre.
Yes, indeed, this is the Stage and Screen Show with me, Andy Snowden, here until 3 p.m. this afternoon. And coming straight ahead, we are going to hear from the artistic director at Theatr Clwyd, Tamara Harvey. She's next.
On the northeast tip of North America, on an island... Welcome to the Rock!
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition. Strap in.
And now, live from a lockdown room in Leeswood, comes the Andy Snowden Radio Show. Please welcome the man voted best suited to wear a mask. It's Andy Snowden!
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. 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 I'm going downtown tonight. What's going on?
As we are all aware, all the entertainment venues around the country have been locked down, and I think we were all kind of crossing our fingers that things would be back to some kind of normality by now. But this does not seem to be the case, and I am joined on the line now by the artistic director of Theatr Clwyd, Tamara Harvey. And Tamara, when you came on my 24-hour show back in March, we were all full of optimism for what the future held, but things have dragged on a little longer than originally anticipated, right?
I guess so. I mean, I think we were always full of optimism, but balanced with a kind of quiet sense that it might go on for a very long while. And it's just that side of us has kind of gradually got louder. From the moment it became apparent that gathering together in large groups was dangerous, it was apparent that theatres were going to have to keep their doors closed for quite a while.
Yeah. And I think, with the pantomime, of course, it's not until December, but I think a few people were kind of quite surprised by your announcement this week because, Boris Johnson last week made an announcement that theatres and entertainment venues were opening in the beginning of August. That was in England, of course, and Wales is usually a couple of weeks behind. So for most people, Christmas is a long way off, and it seemed a bit...
there are lots of factors, of course, and we kind of kept fighting the good fight as long as we could. What Boris Johnson didn't acknowledge in that announcement was the fact that there is no insurance at the moment for theatres. So if we make theatre and then have to shut down, either because there's a second wave or because someone in the company gets sick or because someone in the audience is sick, then we have no insurance against cancelled shows. So there's that. But there's also... kind of more immediate concerns. So the reason that we were kind of forced to make the decision now is because if we wanted to start making it, and our panto, it's a big, beautiful kind of beast of a thing, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Then if we wanted to start making it, we would need to bring our making teams off furlough. And at the moment, we are doing everything we can to try and save enough money to be able to survive on the other side of this. So what we couldn't do is bring our teams off furlough in order to start making now when that job retention scheme might just mean the difference between survival and disaster in a few months' time. And there are other considerations as well. So, we're just at the kind of pinnacle of the casting process. We would need to start making offers, and we've committed to paying any freelancers that we do contract. So that makes us more cautious about contracting people. Yeah. And ultimately, we've looked at testing regimes, we've looked at different versions of bubbling, we've looked at physically distancing, but ultimately the thing we can't get around is that if one member of the company, whether on stage or off, showed any signs, any symptoms of COVID, so a cough, a temperature, the list is quite long now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then we would have to lock the whole thing down for 2 weeks at a minimum. And that's 2 weeks worth of ticket sales, of course. It's 2 weeks worth of disappointed audiences, and it just renders the whole thing potentially disastrous for us as a theatre, kind of lasting into the future.
Yeah.
And the thing is with panto companies, they're amazing. Those actors are, as you know, incredibly talented. They're incredibly hardworking, and they're also totally prone to every cough and cold going, because they're kind of working so hard, and they're in this very intense environment. So we can't keep our panto companies fully healthy at the best of times, and the likelihood of being able to get through that whole 3-month period without any coughs or sneezes or any temperatures is next to none.
Well, as you say, people working that closely together, and of course it's winter, so the chances of getting sick on a normal level, somebody's going to get ill at some point.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly
that. And in the end, much as God, we want to do it, and we want to do it not just because it's an important part of the year for us financially, but more than that, it's just the most joyous time. I mean, there's this group of friends who come every year. I think they come during previews. I'm not sure if it's the first preview, and they all wear their Christmas jumpers, and they hang out in the bar afterwards, and they're the best group of people. And it's just a heavenly time. The youngest audience member we had last year was 4 weeks old, and then I got a letter from a 102-year-old telling me that he'd been to every panto. He'd been to panto every year, not ours obviously, because ours hasn't been going that long, but he'd been to panto every year since he was 6 years old, apart from the war years, and he'd loved ours, and thank you, and so you get this incredible kind of gathering of humanity, of community. And it's devastating to take the decision to close our doors to that. But we will do things. We will make sure that there are opportunities for people to come up the hill. We just can't do it with panto this year. Yeah.
And I mean, as you say, Theatr Clwyd pantomime is, it's world famous, really. But as far as I can gather, Theatr Clwyd are the front runners in the cancellation. Have any other theatres followed suit yet?
Yeah, there are others who have cancelled their season, but not specifically kind of named the panto. So Sheffield Theatres yesterday said that they would be staying closed in terms of their major programming until the spring. The Sherman Theatre have already said that. Manchester Royal Exchange. So there are various others, but I think we're not alone. But not everyone has taken that decision yet. Yeah.
And just a couple more. I mean, you just said then that you're working on some kind of Christmas entertainment. Do you know what sort of form that'll take?
No, that's where our energies are going now. So it's all, up until this point, it's all been about, is there any way to save panto? And then, of course, figuring out what cancelling it means, and making sure that we're taking care of the creatives and the actors who've already been cast and the audiences. So the work of now is, all right, we can't do that, but what can we do?
Yeah, excellent. And one more thing, there's a summer school going on, right?
There is, yeah. So we're a creative hub for the next 4 weeks for the most vulnerable children in Flintshire and the children of NHS workers.
Right, fantastic. Samara, thanks for speaking to us.
Let me just, sorry, this is a side note, this just for you, because it was just, I think you'll enjoy it. So yesterday we had the 24 artists who are working with us. So it's dancers, directors, actors, visual artists, and they all had their first kind of day of training, and so they all came and sat in the Anthony Hopkins, physically distanced, of course.
Yeah.
But it was just a lovely moment of, oh look, people in our theatre.
Yeah. Well, I saw Liam's post on Twitter, and I thought, oh, look at that, because Sean Jones is doing something with you, I think, and he's a friend of mine. I've known Sean for years, but. And he texted me and he said, I'm off to Theatr Clwyd, and I went, oh, why? What's going on? And he said what he was doing, and then I saw that, and there is an element of, I mean, I've been going to Theatr Clwyd for years, as you know, and even when I was a teenager, and I always get the same feeling when I walk through the door. There's a sort of there's a sweet aroma about the place. It's a beautiful place to go to, and it's just absolutely horrendous that this situation's just hit you, really.
Yeah, it is. But as we keep saying, we are not on the front line. Things are really dire, and we are doing everything we can to make sure that we save this amazing theatre for the future. But equally, we are not the ones right on the front. So it is hard, but it's nowhere near as hard as these times have been for a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I guess that's part of it, is we want to make sure that we're here on the other side of this to bring some joy into the lives of all of those people who've suffered through this, because that's, in the end, theatre is about coming together and sharing stories and sharing laughter and tears and hope, and that's why we have to make sure we're here on the other side.
Brilliant. Tamara, as usual, thanks for speaking to us. Really
Lovely
appreciate
to talk
it.
to you.
You take care of yourself. Speak soon.
All right, bye.
Cheers, bye. So there you go, Tamara Harvey, the artistic director up at Theatr Clwyd, and everybody up there are doing their utmost to try and bring back some kind of normality to the entertainment venue. Absolutely unbelievable.
That will help you no way. Time is a curse from within.